My name is Miss Crofts, and today in class we will be learning how to classify plants. To classify a plant, you first must know what one is. A plant is a living thing that can use sunlight to make their own food. Plants often include trees, flowers, herbs, bushes, grasses, vines, ferns, and mosses. The plant shown here is a common teasel. A common teasel is an herb with yellow or purple flowers that has bristly leaves. Common teasels are native to Europe but migrated to the United States. Plants consist of 5 major things, the first being leaves, which are green, flat parts of a plant or tree that grows from the stem or branch. The second component are stems, which are the main part of a plant that grows up from the ground and supports the branches, leaves, flowers, or fruit that may grow from it. The third component is roots, which are the part of a plant that usually grows underground. Roots take up water and nutrients and hold the plant in the soil. The fourth component is flowers or cones. Flowers are the part of a plant that have petals and make fruits or seeds. Cones, on the other hand, are the fruit of many evergreen trees and also bear seeds. The fifth and final component are seeds, which are the small part of a flowering plant that grow into a new plant. The picture to the right is a daisy, which is a plant that has flowers with white, pink, or yellow petals around a yellow center, and they are often found growing in the wild. In this picture, you can clearly see the petals and stems on these flowers. Plants are classified based upon the 5 things they are made up of. Roots are very important because they soak up the nutrients and water that the plants need. The roots shown here are from a tree that is grabbing its nutrients from deep within the soil. The plant needs the nutrients to survive, so the roots provide a very important function to the plants. Leaves are also very important because they allow a process called photosynthesis, which turns sunlight into energy. The leaf shown here is no longer growing on a tree, but all leaves come from some type of plant. When leaves are still alive and growing on the tree, they are green, but once they start to die and wither, they turn a variety of colors such as red, orange, and yellow. Once they are completely dead, however, they turn brown. When you first classify a plant, it is based upon whether it is seeded or seedless. Seeds can be found on the plant or encased in fruit. The seeds shown here are from an acacia plant, which is a shrub or tree originally found in Africa. Seeds come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Now, although not all plants have seeds, they still provide an important function of giving life to new plants. There are 2 types of plants with seeds, gymnosperms and angiosperms. The gymnosperm shown here is a black spruce, which is a slow-growing tree found in North America. Gymnosperms have cones instead of flowers, and their seeds are not enclosed in fruit. One example of a gymnosperm is a conifer, which are trees that have cones and needle-like leaves. Most conifers are called evergreens and include pines and firs. Conifers are the largest group in the gymnosperm family. Another example is cycads, which are palm-like trees that have cones and are found in tropical regions. Cycads make up the second largest group in the gymnosperm family. A last example of a gymnosperm is ginkgos, which are trees with fan-shaped leaves and yellow flowers. Ginkgos are originally from China and considered edible in some areas. Although gymnosperms are not as pretty as some of the angiosperms, they still have interesting leaves and branches. Angiosperms have flowers, and their seeds are enclosed in fruit. Angiosperms are broken down into 2 groups, monocotyledons, and dicotyledons. However, monocotyledon and dicotyledon are challenging words to say, so we can refer to them as monocots and dicots. Monocots have parallel veins in their leaves, and there is only one seed per leaf. Having parallel veins in their leaves means that the veins are on top of each other but do not cross. One example of a monocot is an orchid, which are plants with complex flowers. Orchids are the largest group in the monocot family. Another example is lilies, which have large trumpet-shaped flowers on a slim stem. Monocots also include grasses like wheat, rice, and maize. Dicots have netted veins in their leaves and 2 seeds per leaf. Having netted veins in their leaves may be hard to imagine, so picture a fishing or butterfly net. All those mesh wires crossing over each other would be what it would look like. An example shown here is a cherry tree, which are flowering trees that bear fruit. Cherry trees are very common here in Michigan, so I'm sure you've all seen one. Seedless plants are broken down into 2 groups, bryophytes and seedless vascular plants. Bryophytes have no complex vascular tissue, which makes them small in size. Having no complex vascular tissue means that their cells are not connected in as many ways as plants that do have the vascular tissues. They have rhizoids, which are similar to roots because they absorb nutrients and water. Bryophytes are restricted to moist areas because they do not have the vascular tissue needed to survive in drier climates. One example of bryophytes is liverworts, which are small, flowerless plants with leaf-like stems. Liverworts can often cover large patches of ground, rocks, or trees. They can be found globally, but prefer to live in humid areas. Another example is hornworts, which are aquatic plants found in ponds and streams. Hornworts also may grow in large numbers as tiny weeds in gardens and fields. Seedless vascular plants have roots, stems, and leaves. They also are restricted to moist areas because their vascular tissue is not developed enough to allow them to live in drier areas. One example of a seedless vascular plant is a fern, which are flowerless plants that have feathery-like leaves. Ferns are sometimes used for foods and can help save soil that has once been contaminated or ruined. Another example is horsetails, which are flowerless plants that have hollow stems and narrow leaves. This is the basic way in which plants are classified.